My name is Margaret Chalastri with Edge Direct, and I have Ellen Steininger with Shriners Hospitals for Children with me today. We're going to be talking about Giving Tuesday. We know that everybody's getting ready to plan and how Shriners Hospitals for Children has really grown this campaign over the last few years. Just as a note, we ask that we don't share. We're going to be very, very open and honest today about what Shriners Hospitals for Children does. So we do ask that you keep this information, kind of to yourselves and don't disseminate or take screenshots, but we will be recording the webinar so that you can view it again in the future and that you hold all questions till the end. We will save 15 to 20 minutes to go over them. So again, I'm Margaret Chalastri. I'm Vice President of Development and Integrated Direct Response with Edge Direct. And really my role with Edge is to work with all of the agency partners to drive fundraising success for Shriners Hospitals for Children. And that's really an integrated marketing, brand raising, and fundraising role. And I work hand in hand with Ellen Steininger. Ellen is the Corporate Director for Development Operations and Programs at Shriners Hospitals for Children. In his role, he's really responsible for driving fundraising success across all programs, especially English and Hispanic DRTV and direct mail, along with corporate programs and overseeing donor relations at headquarters.
Margaret, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today with my colleague Margaret from the Edge Direct team. Thank you, Nick, for driving. And again, thank you guys for joining us today to talk about omni-channel success in regards to our Giving Tuesday campaign. We really hope that you guys can identify some takeaways that you could apply to your own campaigns in this upcoming year to help you achieve your goals. So we're very excited to talk to you today about our Giving Tuesday campaign, which has seen significant growth and evolution over the years to become really a more integrated campaign or omni-channel campaign. Pre-planning, strategic brainstorming and strategic planning for us have been vital for establishing the theme, each year for the campaign, looking to identify integration opportunities and really keep everybody moving in the same direction, because this campaign it is so integrated that it does touch so many different areas within our department. So having that strong synergy between the different areas, from the digital team to my team, to the corporate partners team, and even the planned and major giving team is extremely important, as well as having that strong relationship with our vendor partners and the Edge Direct team as well. So before we get into the specifics of last year's campaign, I'd like to share a little bit about our organization, who Shriners Hospitals for Children is. For those of you that don't know, the primary challenge that we faced last year in order to continue our growth for our Giving Tuesday campaign, as well as the goals associated to last year's campaign. And we're really going to dig into the tactics that were used and the integrated approach that made this campaign so successful. So Shriners Hospitals for Children is a nonprofit healthcare system with over 22 locations throughout North America. Our 4 specialties of care are orthopedics, burns, cleft lip and palate, spinal cord injury. And we provide these services regardless of a family's ability to pay. And we're also approaching our 100-year anniversary of the organization. So I would quickly like to show you guys one of our DRTV spots called This Is the Place. It's really a visual showcase of who we are as an organization, and that everything we really do really does center around the children that we serve and the life-changing care that we provide.
I'm Alec.
My name's Caleb.
Is everything okay?
I don't like hospitals.
This isn't just a hospital. This is a special place. This is the place
Where I can play games with my grandparents. This is the place where I make the shots. I get it. This is where kids get to be kids.
Yes, this is Shriners Hospitals for Children.
And this special place is only possible because of the monthly support of people just like you.
When you give at loveshriners.org, you'll be joining thousands of other caring people who give just $19 a month to change these kids' lives.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please call or go online now If operators are busy, call again or go to loveshiners.org to give.
So that was this is the play spot. I really do love that spot. You know, two of our patient ambassadors in there, Alec and Caleb, are absolute naturals on camera, as well as all of our patients. So just a quick side note, you know, our DRTV program has been a foundational piece to our fundraising portfolio, and has not only drove significant sustainable revenue for the organization, but dramatically increased our awareness with the general public, which has been huge. And the awareness from this program really has been the tide that raises all of our fundraising ships. So we integrate a lot of our creative assets from our DRTV shoots and our DRTV program into our other fundraising channels, which is the same for our Giving Tuesday campaign. So Giving Tuesday, as many of you know, Giving Tuesday started back in 2012 and has grown significantly year over year. Last year, nonprofits from more than 150 countries participated and raised more than $2 billion globally, with over 500 million of that coming in online. So this campaign has become, you know, such an important day of giving for so many organizations, us included. And for us, we have seen significant growth with our campaign over the past few years. But if we wanted to continue this trend of success, you know, we had to, one, continue to become more integrated with this campaign and our approach to this campaign. And then two, tackle a challenge with our donors that was imperative for us to overcome if we wanted to continue this success. So, you know, utilizing the Neuro Fundraising Lab by More, you know, research findings showed us that our digital donor audience, especially with an average age of around 60, had limited awareness of Giving Tuesday, what it means, and why they should give or support this campaign. So this meant that we really needed to continue to expand our integrated approach and the top funnel channels to help that drive and increase that awareness, you know, with the hopes of then converting them through the lower funnel channels down the road. So some of the different channels that we have available to us for integration, you know, integration is key. You know, everything we do focuses on integration throughout all of our campaigns, through creative messaging and the creative assets that we put out. You know, channels build on one another to help drive results, especially through our Giving Tuesday campaign. So some of the channels that we had access to tap into in terms of integration, you know, email, organic, social media, paid social media, YouTube, television, landing pages, Lightboxes, partnerships that we had established, influencer marketing, toolkits, our call centers, corporate partners, and different things like that. So if we were to be successful and continue to drive growth to this campaign, you know, we must simultaneously engage, educate, and inspire our donors through inspirational, creative, impactful messaging, and storytelling across all of our channels and become completely integrated. So, you know, we launched Giving Tuesday back in 2016, our first Giving Tuesday campaign. We utilized only social media and email that first year, but the program really has morphed into a more fully integrated campaign or omni-channel campaign, which Margaret is going to dive deep into later in the presentation into some of those tactics that we utilize through those different channels. We do plan to continue to evaluate additional channel opportunities for this year's upcoming campaign. So we're real excited. As you can see, last year we tapped into 13 different channels for integration. So some of the campaign goals we had in 2020, they were aggressive. They really included a focus on new donor acquisition, an increase in gross revenue by 25%, as well as raising, you know, 20% more through the email campaign, and increased mission awareness and visibility for the organization in the campaign. So results, we increased gross revenue through this campaign by 47%, you know, exceeding our goal by 22%. So this increase in gross revenue represented hundreds of thousands of dollars of additional revenue to support our mission. So we were very pleased by the success that we saw, especially in 2020, in the midst of the pandemic. So how does our growth stack up against worldwide growth? So since 2016, you know, SHC has grown our gross revenue by over 467%, you know, outpacing the gross revenue growth of 260%. You know, we attribute a lot of the success to our integrated strategic approach to this campaign. And we're very excited for this upcoming year's campaign as well. So one of the next things I wanted to do is turn it over to Margaret to drill down to some different components and tactics that we utilized, upper and lower funnel tactics that truly helped us drive the success of this past year's campaign. So Margaret?
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. And I know that Marty Quisenberry is online right now. He's the director of digital down at Shriners Hospitals for Children. And honestly, we couldn't do it without him. He really forces us to think outside the box and drive the innovation. So thank you, Q, for all you do.
And his team.
And his team, yes. Thank you, Alan. So the 2020 Giving Tuesday campaign, as Alan said, you know, we had this campaign grow substantially between 2016 and 2019. And honestly, again, Marty and team told us our goal was 25% growth. And I will tell you, I was super nervous because I didn't know how we were going to do it. So the solution was really, we had to continue to drive that multi-channel pervasive campaign. The donors, your donors engage with you across all the channels. They need to be seeing the same inspirational, creative, and storytelling to really have that message resonate with them. So now we have this good base of donors that are giving to Shriners Hospitals for Children during this campaign and throughout the year. So we're going to leverage those traditional mid to lower funnel channels to renew them and hopefully upgrade their gift. But if we were going to drive this 25% growth rate in revenue, we were really going to have to expand to those higher funnel channels and drive acquisition. So here's the creative theme for the Giving Tuesday 2020. The sky is the limit. And again, big shout out to the Shriners Hospitals for Children team. This was really their dream and vision. And it really centered on how the donors make an impact on a lifetime of these children. Through the past 7 years, we knew that the children were really the heroes of all the creative and messaging. These are the children that resonate with the donors, so they have to be the forefront. So the messaging and creative really looked at how these donors help Nicole achieve her dream of being a dancer through prosthetics, how you can inspire and aspire Maria to become a nurse because of the amazing care that she gets at Shriners Hospitals for Children. And the messaging really focused on how the donor makes that possible, not necessarily giving to the brick and mortar, but giving to the children and their dreams. So as Alan mentioned earlier, you know, Shriners Hospitals for Children fundraising program is touching channels that are unlimited at this point. Unfortunately, we only have an hour. Nick kept us on task. We got to be done at 4 p.m. Eastern. So we're only going to focus on a few channels today. Obviously, digital first, email, digital advertising, including social media and influencer. We're going to talk a little bit how we integrated across channels to DRTV, how we engaged the hospitals. As Alan said, there's 22 hospitals within the system. So how do we engage them in order to fundraise at a local level? Website and donation forms, and then how we can actually integrate with direct mail, where you may not feel like your direct mail donors are seeing you online, but they are, and on TV. So how can we engage and have them give to this digital campaign? So across all channels, we segment. We all know that segmentation increases response rates based on previous or current behavior. So for this campaign specifically, we broke that audience into 7 different segments. Obviously, your sustainers, those are your most dedicated donors. They love to know that you know they're a sustainer, so we definitely have to speak to them differently. Your one-time only, high value donors, however you define that. For this case, it was those who had given to Giving Tuesday previously at a gift, a one-time only gift of $500 or more. Your lapsed donor, this was 12 plus. Past Giving Tuesday donors, Alan talked about how through the Neuro Fundraising Lab, we knew that there was a lack of understanding of what Giving Tuesday was. So it was a big piece of this campaign to really inform these donors. So if they had given to Giving Tuesday previously, we knew that that piece was kind of taken care of, and we just needed to inspire them even more to give again. Matching gift donors. So this was a appeal, matching gift appeal. So we know that if those donors have a propensity to give to a match, we're going to highlight that more prominently in messaging. And then obviously we talked about it a couple times already. We have a large push in acquisition. So the prospects were brought out into a different grouping. So in the previous, Alan and I have done this, this presentation one time before, and one of the questions that came out of it was segmented messaging. What does that really mean? Do I have to completely rewrite my content? The answer is no. I mean, sometimes you do. As an example, in this campaign, those high value donors that gave $500 or more, Shriners Hospitals for Children actually offered a back-end premium if they had beat their previous Giving Tuesday gift. So in that case, it had to be rewritten. But here's a couple of examples how just minor tweaks to your copy can change the messaging completely. So the top copy could be one-time only donors, supporters like you. Again, you're calling out that we know that they're a supporter, that the children know that you are supporting them and we need you. Whereas the second block of copy talks about dedicated supporters, your monthly gift. Alan's probably tired of me saying this, but there's tons of times you look at social media ads and underneath you look at the comments, and the comments are, I give monthly. I love these kids. I give every month. I give $19 a month. They love for you to know that they are dedicated to your cause. So calling out words like dedicated and your monthly gift lets them know that you know that they are one of the most important supporters of your cause. And then the third block could be your acquisition. So obviously in acquisition, you are hyper targeting those that already have a charitable interest. You know that they have, they're cause minded and that they are supporters maybe of another organization. So calling out that you know that they are a supporter, but we need people like you. We need supporters like you to care about these children and to care about this cause, increases response rate. It's not, you know that they, again, have a charitable minded and that they want to give. You just have to give them a reason to give to you. So as far as email goes, again, Alan said earlier, in 2016, the team launched with social media and email. Email is a key piece, a key channel for this campaign and for Shriners Hospitals for Children Digital across the board. So for Giving Tuesday, a lot of times in the past, we have focused around that Tuesday date. And as the years have gone on, we have found by expanding this email campaign, we are actually increasing response rates and increasing giving. So email one in 2020 was a little bit different. We did have a presidential election, for anybody who forgot. So we waited until just after the election. I believe it was November 5th, we launched email one. So email one, again, was all about education. Here's the date of Giving Tuesday, and it linked to an animated video done by Planet Nutshell that talked all about what Giving Tuesday was, why it matters to the children at Shriners Hospitals for Children, and why the donor should care. So just educating them on what this international movement means and why the children, again, they are the star at Shriners Hospitals for Children, care about them giving during Giving Tuesday. The following week, we launched another email, and that was a soft ask. There was a donate in the header and a call to action in the footer, but otherwise it was a patient story that now that we've educated them about Giving Tuesday, now let's talk about that emotional appeal and really highlighting the children and what these donations do for the children at Shriners. Email 3 was when we got into the appeal. So that happened 2 weeks before Giving Tuesday. We announced the matching gift. We followed it up with a week later that says, help us reach our goal. This is how far we've made it. Trying to create that sense of urgency as we enter the Thanksgiving holiday. And then on Giving Tuesday, we have begun sending an AM and a PM email. So the AM is a match extension saying, hey, we didn't quite hit our goal. We're going to extend it through the rest of the day. And then the PM send, and in order to reduce donor fatigue, the PM send only gets sent to non-openers of the AM email. If somebody opens in the morning and they don't engage, we don't want to continue to send them emails and upset them. They are a supporter. They do care about the mission. The last thing we want to do is feel like a nuisance. So that PM send, which I believe has been introduced in the last few years, actually drove almost 28% of all email donations. So super, super effective and something to look at for your own campaign. And then there is a sixth email. So there's a Thankful Thursday email that goes out following Giving Tuesday to extend it just a little bit, another touch point for those donors to give. And so that thank you cultivation is sent to the entire file, whether they gave to this campaign or not. Because remember, all of these people that are on your email file support in the way that they can, whether it's a peer-to-peer fundraiser or just someone who cares about the mission. And we need to continue, you cannot say thank you enough. So that email actually resulted in over 400 gifts. Some of those were a second gift from those who already gave, but a lot of them were those who did not give during the campaign and chose to give on Thankful Thursday. So here's an example of the email creative for this campaign. And a couple call outs. The hero images are really, really strong. Another key call out, the donate button that is in the header as well as mid body is the same color. And then right here, you have an example of this matching gift language. And one of the things that Shriners Hospitals for Children has tested into is going from, for every dollar you give, it will be matched, to challenge language. So instead of saying a corporation or a large donor will match your gift, they say someone gave us a large gift. Now we're putting the onus back on the donor to match it. So it's asking the donor to make an action to double the gift versus the other way around. And it's been shown across the entire file to increase response rates. Another key call out for these emails, this was the first year that Shriners Hospitals for Children did this, but down in the footer of the email is a unique TFN. And this unique TFN, not that you would think that your digital donors are going to pick up the phone, it was only a small number down in the footer, and this resulted in over 234 calls to the call center and responsible for about 2% of overall campaign revenue. Alan, you have a call out?
No, without putting that unique TFN down there, we have zero insight and have had zero insight in the past to, just how many people are going to pick up the phone unexpectedly, like Margaret alluded to, via an email with that TFN down there in the footer. So we're starting to integrate and utilize unique TFNs through some of our other campaigns now too as well. But like I said, this is all due to the success and the tracking through the Giving Tuesday campaign. So we're real excited about including this more in some of our digital campaigns with the unique TFNs.
Thanks, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an example of USPS informed delivery. So across Shriners Hospitals for Children, as we've talked about over and over again, I'm sure you're hearing this, tired of hearing about it. Integration, it has been key to the success of this fundraising program. So utilizing digital in order to reinforce your messaging for your direct mail offline donors has been shown to lift response significantly. So here's an example of USPS. So we knew that we had a Thanksgiving card being sent, went in homes just before Thanksgiving, but was in market at the same time as Giving Tuesday. So anyone who signed up for informed delivery was then presented with a Giving Tuesday specific ask and a link to a donation form. And it was just another touch point to say, hey, we're here, please give, don't forget about us, and here's your opportunity to give a gift. We talked about it earlier. A big key to the success was, how do we reach a new audience? How do we activate some of these higher funnel channels? So Lifetime, it's been a popular brand with Shriners Hospitals for Children's target audience. We knew that because of the very successful DRTV program and the cost per monthly donors that were being driven with commercials, DRTV spots on this channel. So we reached out to Lifetime and said, hey, how can we integrate Giving Tuesday with Lifetime during this holiday spot? So the promotion included video pre-roll. We know that video really engages, especially through digital, these cute kids. So we wanted to utilize it as much as possible. So video pre-roll and streaming, social posts on Lifetime profiles. We had inclusion in the Lifetime email and a promo tile on the Lifetime website. So overall, between Lifetime and their partners, we reached over 2.2 million potential donors. And as you know, this is a higher funnel channel, so we didn't have a ton of direct revenue, but between all of this, YouTube, and some of the DRTV, we had an incremental 500 plus gifts come through assisted channels. So here's an example of some of the networks that we worked with: Lifetime, A&E, and History. That bottom piece, Sinclair Broadcast Group, is an interesting piece, and big shout out to the DRTV team. You know, we've worked with Sinclair for a long time, buying media placements, and they were really looking, as Giving Tuesday has gotten larger and larger, how can they increase awareness in their audience about Giving Tuesday? So they reached out to the team and said, hey, help us. How do we tell people what Giving Tuesday is and get them informed and excited about this Giving Day? So working with Sinclair, we put together a 30-second promo spot. It didn't have a call to action. It was just, what is Giving Tuesday? And it included a lot of footage of Shriners Hospitals for Children patients and previous filming. We then took that 30-second promo, I won't call it a PSA, but it didn't have a direct ask, and we butted it up to a 90-second traditional DRTV spot. So here's what Giving Tuesday is all about, and then it followed directly with, here's Shriners Hospitals for Children and why you should care and give, with that $19 ask and the blanket back end. And it was so inspiring. It was amazing to see come together. So here's an example of some social media posts. So we activated social media through paid advertising, through organic at headquarters, and then created toolkits for hospitals and corporate partners. So we had video assets that appeared in Facebook stories and Instagram stories to boost organic reach leading up to Giving Tuesday. Then we also did a virtual balloon release, including all the patient ambassadors. Alan's going to share it with us later, that really said thank you to the donors. So they released a virtual balloon for every dollar or every donation that was given to Shriners Hospitals for Children. And these raw, exciting videos really resonated with the donor audience. Overall, gross revenue increased by over 13% year over year. And if you look at benchmarks, you know, social media was tough this year in order to increase revenue, but some of this more raw footage really helped resonate. So here's an example of some hospital toolkits. We talked about it, integration. We want to make sure that any donor that's looking at the headquarters or the emails or seeing us through display is also seeing the same thing at a local level. So the team came up with hospital toolkits that included sample messaging, videos, photography, creative, schedules, everything that they needed to be integrated with the headquarter campaign. And as we continue down the social media realm, you know, utilizing influencers, Shriners Hospitals for Children is blessed to work with some really large influencers, including Trace Atkins, RJ Mitty, who was on Breaking Bad, Brett Favre, but also I wanted to call out, you had Keshi and RJ, who are past patients. So a lot of times you have these influences that that are already part of your organization that you can leverage, and they have the passion and are more likely to really push and share than some of these larger influencers. Do not think because you're going after a Brett Favre that has 1.1 million that he's going to be able to fundraise or get more reach than someone who is really committed to the cause that has under 100,000. Here's an example of display in YouTube. So we went through Google Display Network. We worked through Gmail sponsored promotions, which was super interesting. If anybody wants more information, we can talk about it after. I could go on for an hour. And YouTube. So we ran a lot of supporting awareness activities. The ads received 2.5 million impressions, more than 95,000 video views, and 72,000 clicks through. These channels alone were responsible for 500 assisted conversions. So it's super important when you're looking at your digital media mix that you're not just looking at last click attribution. These are not last click attribution, but they will inform an audience and drive acquisition through other channels. So you really need to look at how people are engaging and your analytics to understand where you should be investing and what is truly driving your performance. So we're investing in all of this higher funnel channel, YouTube, display, Lifetime, DRTV. And the first thing people are going to do is go, that's a great video. The next day, they're going to search for Shriners Hospitals for Children, and they're going to end up on your homepage. So the homepage of your organization is super important, but there's a lot of information going on. So when you're working through a campaign like this, where it's very donor relations focused, we utilize Lightboxes so that as soon as that donor audience gets there, there's a strong call to action that says, I know why you're here, here's how to do it. So we had a Lightbox on the main domain, and for Shriners Hospitals for Children, they have a donor relations microsite called lovetotherescue.org. The creative was changed throughout the campaign to promote the match and be in alignment with what was in market. To ensure that there wasn't a lot of visitor fatigue, if you were back in digital in 2004, like myself, we called them pop-ups. They were super annoying. Now they're called light boxes, and we have the technology that once you close it, we're not going to present it again. Maybe you're there for patient acquisition. Maybe you're there because you're on the board, or maybe you're coming for earned media and press. So if you're going to turn this off, we're not going to keep putting it in your face. But these light boxes have been key, especially when you're investing in those higher funnel channels. And these light boxes alone were secured over 2,000 gifts this year. So really, really key to success. Here's an example of the campaign landing page. And this was really for the donors that had already given. And it was super cool. The development team at Shriners Hospitals for Children did a wonderful job. The balloons rised from the bottom of the page. They had the donors' information and their gift there, and it really showed impact. There was a running total of how much had been given so far. There was videos from patients saying thank you. So it was really donor impact centric and exciting for the donors to see. And then here was the donation page and a couple key call outs. The team works on the platform Classy. They've done a lot of optimizations. Even with those higher funnel channels being invested in, this page drove over an 18% conversion rate. There was a couple reasons for that. First is that really strong headline at the top of the page, help make dreams come true, which is integrated with all the messaging they're seeing everywhere else. We have Alec, who, I mean, everybody knows who Alec is. So a quick visual. And then we had the form start above the fold. They're coming here to donate. Don't make them look for it. And it was successful. Like I said, 18% conversion rate is one of the highest that we have across our campaigns. And I'll turn it back over to Alan for the special social media. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Margaret. So as Margaret alluded to earlier, on Thankful Thursday, our digital team did a very cool virtual balloon release that was hosted by our patient ambassadors, thanking our donors for their ongoing support. to this campaign and to our organization and our mission. So engagement rate was over 11%, with the message really resonating with the donor audience. And like Margaret said earlier, you know, you really can't thank your donors enough for their continued support. So Nick, if you'd go ahead and play it real quick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you!
Our supporters went above and beyond this Giving Tuesday.
We're releasing one balloon for every Giving Tuesday gift given to Shriners Hospitals for Children.
And as you can see, that's a lot of balloons.
Thanks to you, the lives of so many kids like me will be changed forever.
And because of your generosity, there's nothing holding me back from achieving my dream.
Awesome. So that concludes our presentation today. You know, we would like to thank you all for your time today, and thank you for everything that you are doing, you know, to make a positive impact in your local communities, nationally or even internationally. So thank you everyone for attending today.
Thank you for that. We have a few questions from the audience. Feel free to type those in as you have them. But a couple of questions about additional platforms. One is, did you use any texting campaign? And the other is, has Shriners invested in Twitch or any other gaming platforms?
So yeah, I can take those first couple of questions. Thank you, Nick, and thank you for the questions. So this past year, we did not utilize any text or text to give components to our multi-channel campaign. We are taking a look at, for the upcoming year, the one vendor we utilize, Message Made Easy, has the availability to do AVM, automated voice messaging, as well as text messaging to our donors. So we're taking a look at potentially weaving in those two different components and integrating them into this year's campaign. We're seeing great success with the AVM, automated voice messaging, for our pre-lapse reactivation program for our sustainers. So we're real excited to take a look at incorporating that into this year's campaign. Great question.
Thank you. And then what are you looking to potentially do different I was going to say next year. This year, especially, we were looking at, our last webinar was about how to deal with a cookieless environment with the iOS updates and loss of addressability in some parts of the internet. So how are you looking to deal with that, and how are you looking to expand?
Margaret, I'll let you take that question. Great question.
It is a great question. So again, we had such a great acquisition year. We just ran a DDA on the digital file, and really acquisition was through the roof in this last year. And Shriners Hospitals for Children didn't change their messaging to an emergency appeal. So we feel like we can retain those donors pretty easily coming into this year. So first is just renewing those donors. We already have their information, so it's not as difficult. The second part of that is understanding what information is still there and utilizing some of our data partners in order to target acquisition. Again, cookieless is tough, but we have such an integrated campaign that we have a lot of co-ops and exchanges where we can pinpoint potential digital donors in order to include in this campaign.
Yep. And Nick, my apologies, I forgot to answer that follow-up question about Twitch and live streaming. So, you know, Marty Questenberry, our Director of Digital Projects and Innovation, is on the phone, and him and I have had multiple conversations, probably over the past year and a half, maybe even closer to 2 years now, about launching a live streaming / gaming fundraising program. We're not there yet, but hopefully that will be an initiative that we can roll out maybe later this year or early next year.
That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about the matching gift? How far in advance was that announced? Was it honored after for those gifts that came in on Thankful Thursday, those sorts of things?
So, you know, this kind of goes back to the first slide when we were talking about, you know, pre-planning and planning for this campaign. I mean, we start about 6 months in advance. Margaret, give or take, I would say. And, you know, at that time, you know, if we're going to utilize a matching gift for the campaign, which we've done, you know, the past couple of years with great success, for this campaign. We take a look to see what are our options. And that's why having that open communication with the different areas of our department, our corporate partners team and our planned and major giving team gives them plenty of time to either work with a major donor or planned giving donor, or for the CP team to work with one of our corporate partners to try to identify candidates that we could utilize as a matching gift challenge, as Margaret talked about, which we've been doing the past couple of years. So months in advance. That's why we work so far in advance, because sometimes it takes weeks or it takes some time. You know, a lot of times donors want to see, you know, the past year's materials and what the content looked like. And, you know, they want to see all of those things. Same with corporate partners too, before they make a decision if this is something that they want to be a part of.
And about how far in advance do you announce it? I know you said the day after the election was when the campaign launched. Is the matching gift announced at that time?
No, so we do an educational piece. What is Giving Tuesday? Why it matters. Then we'll do an emotional appeal. So in this case, it's a patient story. We announce the matching gift 2 weeks prior to Giving Tuesday. We've tested breaking that up. So in this case, let's say it was a $100,000 match. We have tested doing a $25,000 match until the day and then doing $75,000, but really the lump sum performs slightly better. So we'll run it 2 weeks prior to Giving Tuesday. It will triple on Giving Tuesday, and then that's the end at midnight. We'll use countdown clocks and emails in SEM ad copy as well as through social in order to really stress that urgency, but it is not continued to Thankful Thursday.
And in those emails, are you also thermometerizing, which is totally a word that I didn't just make up, and talking about the distance from the goal that you have at each one?
So we have tested a lot of different creative. One of the things that Alan and I talked about in the last presentation was the difference between counting down how much money is left to hit a goal versus how many more donations. So I would stress everyone test the same language because, you know, some organizations will see we need 10 more donors, resonates and increases response rate more than we need 15,000 more dollars.
Mm.
It seems like that may be something that someone feels like they can be more a part of accomplishing. I can be one of the donors, whereas if I give $20, I'm a drop in the bucket to your $15,000 goal.
Correct. And Nick, to your point, you know, there's a sweet spot in how much of a match should really be out there, right? The $1 million can be super daunting to a direct mail $30 donor. Whereas if it's like a large major gift, maybe that's different. So we do try to keep that matching gift challenge down in more of, I hate to use the word reasonable, but what seems attainable for our individual donors.
Speaking of those amounts, how are you setting the gift ask arrays? And does it differ among the life cycle segments that you're targeting?
So we've tested a lot. The mantra at Shriners Hospitals for Children and Edge Direct is test, test, test. It doesn't matter what you think is going to work because most of the time we end up being wrong. But as the years have gone on and Giving Tuesday has continued to be so successful for Shriners Hospitals for Children, we've seen the gift amounts continue to increase. So in that, we continue to test those gift arrays. So for that high value donor, we knew that they had already given $500 plus. Their ask array is going to be slightly different than the other segments, especially say sustainers. So by testing ask arrays, changing the language and segmenting and talking to donors slightly different in 2020 as we did in 2019, we actually saw that average gift increase from, it was like $93.50 some cents up to $135 average gift in 2020, which was incredible and really one of the key successes to reaching that 25% plus revenue goal.
And I would imagine that some of that is, as you said, de-emphasizing the matching gift and making it more of a challenge / lead gift than matching gift so that you don't have that crowding out effect.
Exactly. It's interesting, Nick. It really is. You know, you don't think about the psychological feeling of if I give $1, someone else is going to do something. But now it's somebody's done something. We need you to do something. And it seems counterintuitive, but the more you think about it, you can understand how putting that onus on the donor would increase that response rate.
Yeah. And that's something that we had tested, Nick, a couple years ago. And like, we were very unsure how our donors were going to respond to a challenge, a match challenge, compared to a traditional match and gift type campaign. And like I said, we had tested it first in direct mail and saw a great response and a lift in average gift, and then, tested it again, test twice. Cut once. So we tested again and saw the same. And now it's been a control for everything we do, whether that's offline or online, digital, in terms of our matching gift campaigns.
So speaking of this cross-channel pollination, you've talked about some things that have filtered over from mail to digital. Are there things that you've done on GivingTuesday that you've since either tested further in other channels or rolled out with after the success in the GivingTuesday realm?
I think everything's a learning, Nick,
Yeah.
right? There's language that has come across. And I think one of the key things that I personally learned in 2019 is GivingTuesday is no longer an online digital only movement. This is a movement that is gaining awareness and gaining tremendous growth. And if this is going to continue to be successful for Shriners Hospitals for Children and reaching a new donor audience and bringing them into the mission, we are going to have to continue to expand into other channels, including direct mail. There are direct mail donors that know what GivingTuesday is, but we maybe in the past with organizations haven't been putting that ask out there. So I think between that, some of the language pieces and understanding those high value or those high gift donors that are giving to this campaign has definitely influenced some of the other channels that we're working through.
Last question that I had, and we'll see if any others come in, but you talked about the toolkit for hospitals, and not everyone will have hospitals, but a lot of folks on this call may have chapters or state organizations or those sorts of things who would be able to replicate that type of toolkit. What level of customization do you build into that, and how much of that is set from Shriners Hospitals for Children's kind of central office?
So that's probably a two-part question. I can handle half of that. Margaret, if you want to talk to the digital aspect component of that. So Nick, great question. So, all of the toolkit information is constructed here at headquarters and then disseminated out to our different hospital locations. Because one of the most important things, in terms of GivingTuesday is we want consistent messaging. So whatever we're saying at a national or corporate level, we want to ensure that we provide that same type of information, whether that's for social posts or email campaigns, and the language and content that needs to be included there that they're doing on a local level. So we build and construct those toolkits here at home office and then disseminate them out well in advance of GivingTuesday. Okay. Margaret, I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that.
That's good. I think some campaigns, not necessarily for GivingTuesday, but there are some larger campaigns where you will have placeholder imagery where you can drop in a patient from, that was terrible, where you can place an image of a patient from that hospital within the creative to make it feel a little bit more localized, but that's the only thing I have to add. Thanks.
And then a question from the audience, can you explain how you differentiate between GivingTuesday and your end of year appeals, since they do come somewhat back to back?
They do. It's hard, right? You don't want to feel like you're inundating your donors by appeal, and then all of a sudden you're into holiday and end of year. So I know the team has taken an approach where we will suppress anybody that gave to GivingTuesday from the first or second email for the holiday and end of year campaign. We try not to continue to ask if somebody's given in the last 30 days, because obviously we want to thank them for their donation versus making them feel like they're just a piggy bank. But the end of year campaign is very straightforward for Shriners Hospitals for Children. It is about the tax deduction. Again, it focuses on the kids. It has a different feel without feeling like a completely different mission through the creative strategy. So it's a very, very straightforward campaign. It's less about the emotional appeal and more about the action of giving a gift and getting that deadline of midnight on 12/31 to get your tax deductible donation in.
Yeah, because what we've experienced too, Nick, just to add on to that, a lot of donors, they have a threshold in terms of the giving amount that they need to give for the year. And so those reminders and those emails and those communications that we send out, like Margaret said, are very straightforward, and our donors appreciate that. And you can see in the results too. I mean, on the last day of the year, you will just see, significant amount of donations come in, online and offline, but especially online.
Yep. And to Alan's point, just to piggyback, now that we're spitballing back and forth, there's a large donation population that you will see only gives at the end of the year. And they're normally larger gifts. So we will segment those out and ensure that maybe we're not pushing too hard in Giving Tuesday, but they're an end of year donor. So that's really when we're going to significantly get in front of them.
Well, too, and we know that so many of our donors, as well as a lot of other organizations, these donors give to multiple organizations. So if we're out in front of them at year end, we're strengthening our chances for them to potentially select us to, give the remaining amount of their charitable gifts for the year to Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much for your time today. Would you like to close it up with any final words?
Just what I said, I just want to, thank everybody that's on the webinar today for everything you're doing locally, nationally, or internationally, and everybody's having a positive impact within those areas. And I just thank Margaret and thank you, Nick, again for driving. And I, thank everybody. I know some of the SHC staff's on here, the digital team, some of my team members and everybody, and some of our vendor partner staff is on here. So I just want to thank them. The staff internally and our vendor partners, everybody plays such an integral role within our fundraising programs and has really drove the kind of success that we've seen over the past couple of years. So I just want to thank everybody and thank everybody for the opportunity today to speak. Margaret?
Absolutely. And thank you, Alan, for speaking with me. And if anybody has any questions after, please don't hesitate to reach out. The team loves to help in any way that we can and share any information to make everybody as successful as possible.
That's right.